Hey guys, I'm Tom the Tech Chap, and this is the new Nokia X20, or Nokia. Nokia? And this is kind of like their top-of-the-line phone. It's definitely not a flagship. This will cost you just £300, so it's definitely in that affordable budget section, but it's the top of the line coming from the C and the G series. This is the X series, and it's the X20. So is it any good, and should you buy it? Well, I'm in kind of two minds about it. On the one hand, this is one of the cheapest 5G phones you can buy. As I say, about £300. It's dual SIM, although the second SIM card slot doubles as a micro SD. But usually to get 5G, you have to pay £400 or £500. But because this is built on the new Snapdragon 480 chip, which is a very low power processor, but it is also a brand new one for 2021, and it does support 5G. So one of the real selling points of this, if you have to have 5G for some reason, but you can't spend more than £300 on your phone, bit of a sort of weird combination, but this is definitely worth considering. And it's not just 5G, we're also getting a big 6.67-inch screen, this lovely pure Android 11 software experience, which for me is one of the biggest selling points of these Nokia phones. And they do also promise 3 years of updates, which is good to see. I think it looks great. I like the round camera module and the matte texture to the back plastic body, although the bezels around the front are a little bit chunky, and also we have this quite big central selfie camera in the middle of the screen. So looking around the phone, we've got this fingerprint reader built into the power button on the right-hand side. We've also got a dedicated Google Assistant button on the left, which no one really asks for, but it's there. On the bottom, we've got the single speaker grill. This doesn't have stereo speakers, unfortunately. USB-C port, 3.5mm headphone jack, which is good to see. Good battery life, decent cameras, particularly the main lens, and all in, as I say, for £300, it's pretty affordable. But there's a problem, and it's kind of highlighted by these phones. There is so much competition in this price range now, which is great for us consumers, but it also means when it comes to value for money and features and specs, I have to compare this to its similarly priced rivals. And in a lot of ways, this does fall behind. Yes, it's 5G, but it's also only an LCD screen and not AMOLED. It's also only 60 Hz, not 90 or 120. And while the Snapdragon 480 is a new chip, it is very low power. In fact, I gave the new Realme 8 Pro a bit of a hard time in a recent video because it still has the Snapdragon 720G, the same one from last year, which again is very low power. And this is actually about the same and actually even a little bit slower when it comes to graphics performance, which isn't the end of the world. You can still play a bit of Call of Duty Mobile on here, even with medium settings, so it is definitely still usable. And I think what saves the day is the software. As I say, we're getting this pure Android, drop the phone. It's fine. The Realme dared to leap off my desk. What was I talking about? The software, yes. Android 11, but based on the Android One platform. So this is basically stock vanilla Android. You're going to get a similar experience to, say, if you're using a Pixel 5, and it makes such a difference because you haven't got any heavy bloatware, tons of pre-installed apps, or any ugly UI on top that slows things down and makes it all feel a bit cheap, which is a criticism I still do have with some of these alternatives, particularly from Xiaomi or Realme. They're getting better, but a real selling point for me is this software. It's just slick. Yes, it's only 60 Hz and it's got a slow processor, but the software helps keep it feeling pretty slick to use. But I am the tech chap. I am a bit of a nerd and a bit of a stickler for specs, even if it doesn't make maybe a night and day difference to you guys. But to have a 60 Hz LCD screen on a 2021 phone that costs £300 is unacceptable is a strong word, but it's disappointing, especially given the competition, which either have AMOLED 60 or AMOLED 90 or 120. So in many ways, this does feel like a 2020 phone. And it kind of reminds me of this. My name is Chap, the tech chap. So that was me doing a rubbish James Bond impression with the Nokia 8.3 last year. I think it was in September. And it's kind of funny because that phone was supposed to be James Bond's phone in No Time to Die, which has been delayed and delayed and delayed. And actually, I've read reports that they've had to CGI out that phone and put in a new one, maybe an upcoming new flagship or whatever it is, because by the time it comes out eventually, that 8.3 will be old tech, it'll be the last year's model. So in some respects, that kind of feels like a metaphor for this, just a bit out of date. Other areas for improvement include the fact that this still has just a single speaker. There's no stereo speakers, which means when you're playing games or watching YouTube videos back, it's quite one-sided. Not only that, but the camera it's actually quite good, but only the main lens. It's a 64 megapixel camera. They've collaborated with Zeiss, and while the ultra-wide and the digital zoom leaves quite a lot to be desired, but the main camera does quite a good job. Photos are sharp, the colors are natural looking. In portrait mode, you can see the clouds are a little bit overexposed and I look a bit dark, so some of the color in portrait is a bit off. For the price, I'm quite happy with the camera. Round the front, we have a 32 megapixel selfie camera, which I'm not particularly impressed by, if I'm honest. The colors are a little bit off, the detail is lacking. It's definitely not my favorite selfie camera. I guess one benefit of sticking with a 60Hz screen and also a fairly efficient if low power processor is that the battery goes a long way. We've got a 4470 mAh cell in here, and in my 1 hour YouTube test, the X20 used just 8% of its battery. And I find that I get about a day and a half of use from this. By 11 PM, I still have about 35% of my battery left, which is pretty impressive. So good battery life, quite nice design, I do like the look of it, decent main camera, headphone jack, micro SD, 5G support, and it doesn't cost an awful lot of money at £300. So yes, it's a good phone, but for me, I think I'd rather spend my money on something like the Poco F3, which is, as I say, about the same price and better in almost every way, including a much faster Snapdragon 870 chip, or even something like the OnePlus Nord, which you can get for about £350 now. It's come down in price, which has also very slick Oxygen OS software and is a bit discounted from when it first came out. So this is a really good option. Or if you just want to spend a little bit less money, around $270-ish, then the Redmi Note 10 Pro, again, a better option. So there's nothing wrong with the X20, it's just the competition is offering better value for money. So unfortunately, the X20 probably wouldn't be at the top of my recommended list. But what do you reckon? Would you be tempted to buy this? Or if not, what phone would you be looking to upgrade to next? Let me know in the comments below. And if you do want to see more from me, if you enjoyed the video, which hopefully you did, then a thumbs up and a subscribe would be amazing. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chat.